Hey guys, it's Caleb from KCNA Studios, and today we're going to be continuing our Godzilla backwards reviews, and we're on Destroy All Monsters. So here we go. As always, we'll start off with the story, and then we'll get to our pros and cons, and then we'll get to the final thoughts and things of that nature. So, the story goes like this. Basically, it starts out showing Monster Island, which basically, and it's in the future. So it's like, because this movie was made in 1968. This movie's placed in 1999, which is the future to them. And in the future, there's like spaceships and things like that, or there's rockets, and they send them into space and stuff. But anyways, so there's this island called Monster Island, and it holds pretty much all the monsters, besides the bad ones, for the most part. And I'll get to that later, all the monsters and stuff. But basically, they have them all on this island, and then so there's a control center in the island, like inside of the island. Basically, they've carved out a headquarters for them to be able to control the island and stuff. And they made it to where the monsters can feed on whatever they want, and they can't leave the island, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it's kind of like Jurassic Park in a sense. It's cool. But yeah, so and then there's also this spaceship called the Moonlight SY3 spaceship. So yes, there's this cool rocket, and that's where it's a really cool, like, fast rocket and stuff, and they're on the moon on the rocket. And so basically what happens is, on the island in the headquarters, this gas comes and it basically poisons and kills a lot of people in the headquarters. So basically the guys in the spaceship come back, and they're like, what's going on? So they go there to find the leader of the headquarters and another person, and they're acting kind of weird. They're like, hello there, if you cooperate with me, then blah blah blah, if you know what I mean. And they're kind of like, what's going on? So, and then the aliens come in, which are the Keylocks, and they're talking about how they want the planet, and they're very scientific and stuff like that. And then the Keylocks leave, and you find the rest of the people in the headquarters. Basically, they're all mind controlled. Everyone that stayed in the headquarters were mind controlled, and then they have a gun battle, and then the people in the spaceship, they have to leave to get away from the mind controlled Defense Force people, and pretty much all these people are from the Defense Force. So yeah, they leave, and then the gas, it also spreads through Monster Island, and the monsters, they begin to escape and stuff. So yeah, but the defense people from the spaceship and the main character, they fight off the mind-controlled defense peoples. I don't remember what they're called, but they're from some branch of a fictional military thing. Anyways, they capture one of the people and the leader of the headquarters, and they take him back to their base, and he won't talk at all because he's being mind controlled, but they don't know that yet. And then he jumps out of a window. So yeah, and then so he jumps out of the window, and then there's these other Keylock aliens on the island that are actually people being mind controlled, and they come and they start attacking people on the beach, and then the Defense Force comes in and fights them off, and then you get a sense of all the monsters spreading out through the world. Like, I think Gorosaurus and Baragon go to Moscow. Rodan is in Paris. Anguirus is, I actually don't remember. I don't remember all of them. And the Mothra she's in her larvae form and she's on her way to Beijing. And yeah, so you get a sense of all these monsters and they're tracking them down and stuff. And that part of the movie is really cool. But anyways, Godzilla, Manda, and Rodan, I think, yeah, they all attack Tokyo, and then they leave after they've attacked Tokyo and stuff. And one of the other mind-controlled people, the last one that survived from the attack at the headquarters, goes and she kind of like spies and stuff around, but the other people don't know that she's being mind-controlled. But then the pilot of the Moonlight SY3, I think that's what it's called. I always forget the name of it. Well, the pilot gets the other person that was mind controlled because she had these things in her earrings that controlled her, and so they took it off, and then she was back to normal later. They also found out that in the mind-controlled people's necks, when they cut open part of their neck, they found a little bead, and that mind-controlled them. And then, remember back on the part in the beach, they also found a coconut, which had basically a tracking device that can show everything that's going on within a 2,000 diameter kilometer thing. I'm sorry. Yeah, basically they found a tracking device in a coconut on a tree on the beach. So yeah, and that's what the Helocs were using to track them down and stuff. So then Godzilla comes, the Defense Force goes after Godzilla, and then Anguirus appears with them and they fight. And then the people of the Earth Defense Force on the spaceship, they decide to go to the moon, and I'm sorry. I just skipped a whole part. The people on the spaceship, they go into a cave in Mount Fuji to do some investigating, and they find that's where the Helocs are based, or that's where their base is at. So, and they find out that there's another base on the moon, and they also found out that the Helocs believe that Mount Fuji should be theirs to own for some reason, and they didn't really explain that, but yeah, so I just go along with it, because actually this is a pretty cool movie. But anyways, the Earth Defense Force people on the spaceship, they go to the moon, and they find a tracking device, a source of energy on there, and then they destroy that, and they go back to Earth, and then Godzilla attacks Tokyo again, but then he leaves short after. So then, basically, they're left with Mount Fuji about to be, they're left with Mount Fuji, the Helocs on Mount Fuji, and that's it. And that's the only aliens that are left. So, they send, actually, the thing I said there was a source of energy, I just totally screwed up. That actually controlled the monsters. So they destroyed that, and now the EDF people, they have some sort of control, they have a slight control over the monsters. And they managed to get them to Mount Fuji, and then they surrounded the island with like tanks and stuff, and it was really cool. But then the monsters, they come and they gather around Mount Fuji and prepare to attack, and then all of a sudden King Ghidorah comes down, and then there's an awesome battle there, as you all know if you've seen this, and they beat King Ghidorah, and then they find a dome, before they beat King Ghidorah, I do this a lot where I forget stuff. Sorry, but before they beat King Ghidorah, Anguirus uh, bites on King Ghidorah's neck, and he flies over to the mountain, and King Ghidorah falls, or sorry, Anguirus falls onto the mountain, and there's an avalanche, and they find inside is the base. And so after they beat King Ghidorah, Godzilla goes and wrecks the base, and all the aliens are almost dead, but King Ghidorah is dead. So the last thing that comes is this red fire thing, and the aliens call it the, let me see, the fire dragon, sorry. So basically it's a ball of fire and it flies around and destroys a bunch of stuff. It turns out to just be a spaceship from the Kilax, and that was kind of it was like a random disappointment, like, ooh, it's a new monster, oh, it's just a spaceship. So yeah, that was kind of random. I always thought there could have been a different, they could have had a cool new monster in there, but it was just a spaceship. Yeah, but then they defeat that, and then they finally defeat the Kilax, and all the monsters, they go back to Monster Island, and that's basically the end of the movie. So it's kind of a happy ending, in a way. So yes, now let's get on to the cons. So some of the monsters only appeared in cameos, like Baragon, Kumonga, Varen. I thought they should have a lot more screen time because they were only in it for like a fraction of a second, literally. The fire dragon, like I said, it was just a flying saucer, and that was kind of a disappointment. And actually, that's all of the cons because I really like this movie. So let's get on to the pros. The music is fantastic in this movie, and the monsters. So yes, the monsters. Let me say all the monsters in this movie. There's Godzilla, Mothra, Kumonga, Manda, Anguirus, Gorosaurus, Varen in a small part, Baragon in a small part, Rodan's a big part of this movie, Minya, unfortunately, and a couple others, but I probably forgot. So yeah, that's all the monsters in this movie, and they have pretty good suits and stuff, and they were respectfully brought into this movie. So, yes. Next for the pros. The story was all right. The intro was pretty cool, showing all the monsters and showing the credits, the credit part of the intro, and the introducing all the monsters in Monster Island. There's lots of special effects in this movie. Like, do you think Michael Bay has lots of explosions? You should see this stuff. There's like so much special effects and explosions, and it's awesome. The monster tracking in this movie was really cool. I liked. Constantly they were tracking all the whereabouts of the monsters. There's plenty of action in this movie. People say that there isn't enough monsters and it's too human-based, and kind of, but really there's only one gap, and it's a small gap of the movie where there isn't that many monsters, and that would be when they go to the moon to destroy the thing that's controlling the monsters. So yeah, that's really the only part that's slow and doesn't really have any monsters in it, because there's a lot of, like, I don't get it why people say there's not much monsters in this, and it was more action-y. There were only 2 human action scenes. People complain about that, but really, just, you gotta watch the movie again to be able to say that kind of stuff, and it's not true, honestly. So yeah, plenty of action. The Monster Island concept, I love it. The Moonlight SY-3 spaceship was really cool, and it also didn't really get in the way of the monsters, which is a cool thing. It was like the Garuda and the Super X from the Heisei series. That's what I saw it as, and I think it was really cool. And it had more use than the other things, kind of. Don't take that too far. I mean, it had more use to the plot in the story. So yeah. Last Last Pro, the final battle was amazing. It was just awesome. And yeah, so my final thoughts on this movie. I think people say that there's not enough monster scenes in this, and you really have to go watch the movie again to be able to find out that that's not true, because it isn't true. There's plenty of monster scenes in this movie. Godzilla attacks Tokyo Godzilla is in action like 3 times. I especially like the scene where Rodan, Manda, and Godzilla are in the city and they're attacking, and it's really cool. So yeah, there's also lots of special effects and stuff. Like I said, the biggest nitpick in this movie that I have is that the fire dragon that was just the flying saucer. I think that they should have included a brand new monster or something, even though they were trying to end the series. And yeah, I think they did a good job. If this was the end of the Godzilla series, they did a really good job on ending it. But luckily it's not. So yes, and my last question that I do in all of these is remake. Yes. If they did a remake of this movie, like whether it's Toho or Legendary, it would be so awesome. Just yes, I would be so excited. Like, I would be as excited of that as a Godzilla vs. King Kong remake. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe to my channel. Also, make sure to subscribe to Gojira 2000's channel. He's got an awesome channel, does lots of discussions. And Utapol Lim's channel. They're both really awesome channels. So, yeah, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will be seeing you guys later. Bye-bye.